Alright guys, so today's lesson, scientific notation. Today's shouldn't be too bad compared to what we were doing yesterday, or the day before I should say. Alright, so scientific notation is going to be looking like this. Alright, so you're going to have a times 10 to the nth power. And all that means is a, alright, let me get this highlighter going. A, right, a right here has to be between 1 and 10. All right. It has to be between 1 and 10. It can be positive or negative, but we're looking at the absolute value of it. All right. So we're looking at the absolute value of it. When you take the absolute value, remember, absolute value is just going to be positive. Okay. So the absolute value of it has to be between 1 and 10. It can equal 1, but it has to be less than 10. So it cannot equal 10. All right. And then over here, this part, n. N must be an integer, all right? So n, that just means n has to be a whole number, okay? So with integer, it just means, oh my goodness, all right? So it just means it has to be a whole number. It can also equal 0, okay? So it can equal 0 also, but it just has to be a whole number. All right. You guys have all seen scientific notation numbers before, okay? So for this part, is the number written in scientific notation? Yes or no? If it's no, tell me why. All right. So we look at A. All right. We're looking at A. Is it written in scientific notation? Yes, because this number, all right, is between 1 and 10. All right. Remember, we're not worried about the negative. So A is between 1 and 10. Okay. So let me. This number right here is between 1 and 10. Okay. Again, don't worry about the negative. And this is a whole number. So yes, it is in scientific notation. What about B? No. All right, no, because it's it's not set up in scientific notation at all. A is not between. Oh, sorry. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time writing today. All right, is not between 1 and 10. All right. What about C? Again, this is a no because there's A. A is not written. All right, no, because A is not between 1 and 10. All right, let's look at D. All right, yes or no? Well, here's A. A is between 1 and 10, yes. And then C. Oh my goodness. N. There's N. Is N a whole number? Yes. So is D written in scientific notation? Yes. All right. Let's look over at these. All right. So I'll give you a second to pause. Pause it, and write out. Read all those 1, 2, and 3. All right. So hopefully you've read it. Okay. Now what we're going to be doing is going to be converting from scientific notation to standard notation. Okay. All right. So here's our number right there. It's in scientific notation. Number one, they're telling us, is it going to be a large number or a small number? Well, since n since n is a large number, all right, so 6 is positive, all right, 6 is a positive number, then it's going to be a large number. All right. Number 2. All right. So number 2 over here. Now we have to figure out which way we're going to be moving the decimal. Because it's positive, all right, we know it's going to be a big number. So we're going to move the decimal we're going to move the decimal 6 spaces to the right. Okay. Now number 3, fill in the zeros. All right. So now I'm going to go back up to the number. Let me erase all this crap. All right. So let me go back up to the number. Here's the decimal right there. There's that decimal. I have to move it 6 spaces to the right. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite the number. So there's my decimal, 6.2. I'm going to move it 6 places to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's going to be my decimal place right now. And now when it's saying about filling in all those zeros, oh, there's a space, there's a space, there's a space, there's a space. Now let me at least make it look somewhat neat. All right. I'm going to use a different color. 3 spaces. All right. You see those 3? What I'm going to do is, oh crap, of course I would erase the wrong thing. All right, bear with me here, guys. So it's going to be 9,620,000. All right. So all I'm doing is just counting 3 spaces, putting a comma. 3 spaces, put a comma. It makes it easier to read. Okay. Let's look at part B. All right. So there's A, there's N. All right. So for this one, is it going to be a big number or a small number? Well, since N, all right, is negative, so 6 is negative, it's going to be a small number. All right, so what that means is we're going to have a decimal and a bunch of damn zeros. Okay. All right. So number 2, move the decimal. All right. So we have to figure out, since it's negative, we're going to move the decimal 6 spaces to the left. Okay. When it's negative, we move to the left. When it's positive, we move to the right. All right. So now this is where it's going to be kind of a pain in the butt. All right, because of course we don't have any room to write. I'm going to write over here then. So I'm going to move over a little bit. Okay. So since I know I have to move the decimal to the left 6 spaces, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's my decimal place. All right. So I'm going to fill in all those spaces with zeros. Now, sometimes if you don't have enough room to write like this, right, one of the things I like to think about is I moved the decimal one time. Okay, I moved the decimal one time. So I needed to move it 6. So since I moved it 6, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to add 5 zeros then. Okay, so I moved the decimal once, and then I'm subtracting that 1. Right, right. So I'm thinking about subtracting that 1. I used up. I have to move 6 spaces to the left. I used 1 up. So the way I like to think about it sometimes is, all right. So a 0 point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's my 5 zeros. 962. All right. So when they don't give you enough room to write, which is a pain, there's another way of thinking about it. All right. Negative 3.14 times 10 to the second power. All right. Well, what about this one? Well, n is positive. So, all right, 2 is positive. So it's going to be, so it's bigger. It's a bigger number. Okay. All right. we're going to move 2 spaces to the right. So I have negative 3 point, oh crap, 3 point, well, yeah, stop laughing at me. All right, 3.14. Remember, A can be negative also. It doesn't always have to be positive. A can be negative. So we have negative 3.14. I know I need to move 2 spaces to the right. So 1, 2. All right, move 2 spaces to the right. There's my decimal now. So this is going to equal negative 314. All right. Now let's move over to these. Now we're going to convert the other way. So they're going to give us a number in standard form. All right. Now we have to move it to scientific notation. All right. So again, pause it. Take a minute or two. Read all this mess. All right. So hit pause. Read that. All right. So now that we have to move these, again, we're deciding what are we gonna do with these? All right. So with number one, we know that the exponent or n is positive because 5,257 is bigger than 10. If the number is bigger than 10, the exponent or n is going to be positive. All right. So for number two, we have to decide how many spaces are we going to move. Well, here's my decimal point right there. My decimal point is always at the end. If you don't see a decimal, it's always after the last number. It's not written. All right. So how many times do I need to move this decimal to make this number that number be between 1 and 10? Well, one. All right. So there's my decimal. Let's try this one more time. I need to move it 1, 2, 3 spaces. So n is going to equal 3. All right. Now rewrite this. 5.257 times 10 to the third power. All right. Part B. If you look at B, B is less than 1. All right. It's not between 1 and 10. It's not between 1 and 10. So this one's less than 1. So since the n is going to be a negative number, okay, the exponent is going to be negative because this number is less than 1. All right. So right now, I have to erase it. They never give me enough room to write. All right. So here's my decimal. How many times do I need to move this so I can make it so I can make A between 1 and 10? Well, there's my decimal. If I move it one time, now I have 5 point something. There. We had to move it one time. So n is going to equal, let me use the red color, it stands out more. N is equal to negative 1. All right. Because I'm moving it one space to the right. All right. So let's rewrite this number. 5.257 times 10 to the negative 1. All right. So realistically, A and B, there's really no need for scientific notation because those numbers are not that bad. But when you start getting into some really big ass numbers like C, all right, 7 million, there's where scientific notation really does come and help out. All right. So for C, is the exponent going to be positive or negative? Well, in this case, it's going to be positive because 7 million is way bigger than 10. Okay. So we know the exponent is going to be positive. Well, what is the exponent going to equal? Again, remember, my decimal is way over here at the end. I went 1, 2, 3 spaces, 4, 5, 6 spaces. So I went 6 spaces to make that number between 1 and 10. We're trying to figure out how to make that number between 1 and 10. So I had to go 6 spaces. All right. So now I'm going to do 7 times 10 to the 6th. Wish that's what my bank account looked like, but of course not. All right, now, whenever you have to multiply or divide, those are going to be the next scientific notation. All you're going to do is just think about combining some stuff here, right? So we have this this number here, right? We have to multiply that together. Don't let it scare you. Here's what we do, all right? Here's what we do. You're going to take 3 times 4, all right? So we're going to do, oh my God. All right, we're going to take 3 times 4, group that together, times. Now let's group together what n is going to be, okay? Now think about it. When you're multiplying and the bases are the same, all right, 10 and 10, our base is the same. Do you guys remember what to do with the exponents? All right, you add the exponents together. Add those exponents together. So you're going to have 7 plus 6, okay? Now, 3 times 4 gives me 12 times 10 to the 7 plus 6 is 13. But now if you look at this thing, is it in scientific notation? No, because A is not between 1 and 10. All right. So if we look at it, there's our decimal. All right. Let me erase the highlighter. Oh, of course I would erase. Of course that would happen. All right. So there's our decimal is right there. All right. I have to move it one space over. So I end up with 1.2. Well, since I moved that space to the left one, I have to add that one space to the 13. So it's going to be 10 to the 14th power. Okay? Part B. This one's going to be a little bit tougher because you can probably have to grab your calculator. So 3.7 times 6.2, all right? Times, so again, what did I do? I'm just multiplying A together. And now times 10, since the bases are the same, 6 plus a negative 4. All right. Add those exponents. So 6 plus a negative 4, or just 6 minus 4. All right. Now, when you grab your calculator, because of course that's what I did because I'm not that smart, 3.7 times 6.2 is 22.94 times 10. And no, I did not have to grab a calculator to do 6 minus 4. All right. Gives me 2. But again, is this written in scientific notation? No. I have to move the space. I have to move it one space to the left. All right, I have to move it one space to the left to make it in scientific notation. So I have 2.294 times 10. Since I moved it one space to the left, I have to add that 1 to the exponent. So I'm going to end up with 3. All right. Now, 5 times 10 to the 4th squared. Since of course I don't have enough damn room over there, all right, I'm going to write over here. All right, so I'm going to write way over here on the side. 5 times 10 to the 4th squared. What does that mean? All that means is 5 times 10 to the 4th times 5 times 10 to the 4th. Do you agree? All right. So when we do that, now I'm going to just write underneath the problem. Okay? When we do that, all it's telling me to do is just saying 5 times 5 times 10 to the 4 plus 4. That's all it's telling me to do. Now, if you really, really, really look at this, 5 squared. What did I do? Wrote 5 times. Right? I wrote 5 2 times. Over here, 4 to the second power. What did I do? I wrote 4 2 times. I just added them, remember? All right. Or you could do 4 times 2. All right, so I wanted to show you guys two different ways. So we end up with 25 times 10 to the 8th. And again, where is my decimal point? My decimal is right there. One space to the left. Excuse me. Since I went one space to the left, 2.5 times 10 to the 9th. All right, last two problems. Now we're dividing. All right, when you're dividing, again, here's A. All right, there's A. Here is C. I keep saying C. N. One of these days I'll learn my alphabet. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to do 18 divided by 3 times 10. Now, what happens when you're dividing and the bases are the same? What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? We subtract. All right, so I'm going to have 12 minus 6. Well, 18 divided by 3, 6 times 10. 12 minus 6 gives me 6. All right, cool. I didn't have to do anything with this. All right, I didn't have to change. I didn't have to change anything because A is already between 1 and 10. All right, last one. We have 1.2 divided by 1.2 divided by 2.4 times 10 to the 8 minus 3. Remember, when you're dividing, you're subtracting. Okay? Now, 1.2 divided by 2.4 gives us 0.5. All right? And then times 10 to the 5th power. Well, is this written in scientific notation? No. All right? Because it's not between 1 and 10. How do I make that number between 1 and 10? I have to move the decimal to the right. All right? I have to move it to the right. So this is going to end up giving me 5. All right? There's my decimal. Times 10. Since I moved it to the right, I'm going to subtract. I'm going to subtract from that. All right? So it's going to be 10 to the 4th. All right? Now, technically, I don't need this decimal here, so let me erase that crap. And, of course, I would always erase something else that I don't need. All right, so hopefully that helps. Hopefully this is a lot easier. All right? Send us emails if you have questions.